Hey, what's up guys, it's Bakes and thanks for joining me for another one of my random horror reviews. Today's episode is going to be a review of 2007's The Messengers. Now this is a movie that I had seen once before, however it was probably 2-3 years ago, something like that, and to be completely honest I pretty much forgot everything that had to do with this movie. Vaguely a few scenes and everything I remember, but I mostly forgot about this one. I was actually pretty excited to rewatch this one and check it out again, especially since picking up this double feature put out by Via Vision. If you've been watching my channel lately, you guys would know I've been absolutely loving everything that Via Vision have been putting out lately, especially these franchise sets or whatever you want to call them. I've never seen the second film, which is called Messengers to the Scarecrow. I'll probably end up getting around to it soon, but as I said, first of all, I needed to re-familiarise myself with the first movie, so that's what I did. Before we get into my thoughts of this movie, we'll quickly go into the plot. So a family of four, mum, dad, daughter, played by Kristen Stewart, probably the most familiar name in this film, and a young son move off into the country. The dad has plans of turning this farm into a sunflower farm. He's going to plant these flowers, sell them, whatever. And there's a bit of tension with the group, as in the mum and the daughter don't always see eye to eye. The dad's trying to hold everyone together. But, you know, as you would probably presume, the house has a bit of a history. Kristen Stewart's character starts to have these visions of these ghouls and ghosts, and she's trying to warn people, but no one believes her, and that's pretty much the story for this one. It's a pretty basic story. Nothing that we haven't seen before, really, but let's get into my thoughts of 2007's The Messengers. Now, as I said in my intro, I had seen this movie before, however, I pretty much forgot almost everything that happened in it. Vaguely, there was a few scenes that I remembered, and, you know, rewatching it this time, there was a few parts that rung a bell. However, this rewatch was pretty much going into it as a blank slate again. But, you know, when I was watching it this time, I feel like I know why I forgot most of this movie, because to me, unfortunately, this movie's not the greatest, and honestly is quite boring. To sum up in a nutshell why I didn't really enjoy this movie, besides the fact that it was boring, to me at least, I just feel like this movie had no personality. You know, all the films that came out around the same time, you know, these mid 2000s paranormal horror movies, haunted house films, whatever you want to call them. This movie just has all of the same tropes. You know, there was nothing really separating it from any of the others that, you know, really makes me want to come back to this movie. You know, if a random part of this film came on the TV with no characters that, you know, stood out to me and I was just watching it for the plot, you know, it would blend in with so many others of its kind, and, you know, that really sucks, because as I said, I was really excited to rewatch this one. One thing I did remember from my first time watching it was not nearly as bad as what I thought it was going to be. So I was hoping maybe watching it this time I was going to even like it more. And, you know, as parts came up, they were going to ring more bells, and I'm going to be like, yeah, I really like that part, and, oh yeah, I didn't see that coming again. But unfortunately, as I said, this probably went down for me upon rewatch. So now that I've gotten out of the way my general thoughts on this movie and how I don't think it's amazing, let's get into the positives, because there are positives with this movie. It's not completely unwatchable. We'll start with the acting and the characters. Kristen Stewart, she does a great job in this movie. I feel like a lot of people still remember her as like Twilight Girl, which is unfortunate because she's done great stuff since, and I think this is actually before Twilight, and she's great in this as well. You know, it's not her fault, and same with Robert Pattinson, who was also in Twilight. You know, it's not their fault they didn't have great material to work with. They were doing their best, but I think she's great, and she does a great job in this as well. I really like how they go about her character also, because, you know, when you're sort of introduced to her in this movie, you know, you start to feel like, okay, she's going to be one of those characters that's always bitching and moaning, oh, I never wanted to move away, and she's just hating on everyone just cause. No, she actually gives, like, this move a crack, and she's trying to help out the best she can. I really liked that about her character. I really liked our whole family dynamic in general. Her and the mum sort of have this tension because of something that happened before they moved away. The dad, played by Dylan McDermott, he's sort of the glue of the family. He's just trying to hold everyone together without, you know, the sides splitting, while also trying to start up this sunflower farm. As I said, the family dynamic really worked for me well in this movie. Before I forget, there's this really fucking funny basketball scene. We're introduced to, I guess, the friend of Kristen Stewart, love interest in a way. She comes across him playing basketball, and he is so fucking shit, but it's the fucking funniest thing ever. Easily a highlight in this movie. This movie does have its moments. Unfortunately, they're just very few and far between. There's just a long part of this movie where I'm checking out and I'm like, fuck, I'm checking my phone, checking the runtime, see how much longer it has to go. And then something cool happens, but then it's over. All the good moments in this movie are just very few and far between, which is unfortunate, but I did want to bring up those moments. So I'm going to try and wrap up this review now, try and keep it short and sharp. My general thoughts, as I said, I didn't really love this movie. I just feel like most of it was pretty boring. As I said, a lot of the runtime I was sort of checking my phone and I felt myself checking out of it, which you never want to have with your movies. Originally, I was going to rate this one a 4, but the more I thought about it is, I've said this on my channel before, the worst thing that a movie can be is boring. Because even when a movie's bad, you can still find enjoyment from it, you can have fun with it. But when a movie's boring and you're checking out and you're waiting for the runtime to sort of tick over, that's when you have a problem. So I'm going to give this actually a 3 out of 10. As I said, I don't really have a drive to revisit it. I still kind of want to watch the sequel, even though I'm sure it's not great. I don't know, maybe like a paranormal slasher with a scarecrow. I really don't know, but the second one does sort of intrigue me. There's a twist in this movie which I think is actually an okay twist. Unfortunately, you see it coming from a mile away. I'm not sure if the first time I saw this movie, the twist went over my head and surprised me. If it did, I was fucking stupid. But you see the twist in this movie coming from a mile away. Even though I think it's actually not bad of a twist, it's just not executed well. But I'm getting off topic. As I said, didn't really love this movie. If you have different thoughts on it, let me know. But for me, this movie is a 3 out of 10. But thank you for joining me for this random horror review, guys. As I said, if you have different opinions on this movie, let me know. If you guys like it more than what I did, explain why. We can have a chat about that in the comments. But as always, thank you for joining me, guys. Thank you for all the support. Hopefully you're enjoying my comeback with the random horror reviews. They never went away, but if you guys were following my channel, I had a pretty big January lined up with all different content, but hopefully you guys are enjoying this series being back, and I'll see you for another video pretty soon. Thanks, guys.